Imagine a Cold War mission so audacious, so risky, that even the US president was kept in the dark about its true scope. The CIA was embarking on an operation to retrieve a sunken Soviet submarine from the depths of the ocean. A submarine carrying nuclear secrets that could tilt the balance of power between two superpowers. The only catch? The submarine lay stranded over 16,000 feet below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. An impossible feat, or so it seemed. And yet, in 1974, the CIA was willing to risk it all, embarking on a mission that would become one of the most astonishing espionage operations of the 20th century, Project Azorian. Let's rewind to 1968. A Soviet submarine, the K-129, suddenly went silent. This wasn't any ordinary sub. It was a diesel-electric-powered Golfia-class submarine equipped with ballistic missiles armed with nuclear warheads. Dispatched on a covert mission, K-129 had slipped into the murky waters of the Pacific, cruising below the surface with its deadly arsenal. Then, mysteriously, the sub stopped responding. Despite desperate attempts from Moscow to re-establish contact, the K-129 had vanished without a trace. Soviet forces launched an exhaustive search, but came up empty-handed. Meanwhile, thousands of kilometers away, the US intelligence community caught wind of the submarine's disappearance. And for the CIA, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If they could locate and recover the wreck, they might gain access to Soviet nuclear codes, submarine technology, and invaluable military secrets. But there was one enormous challenge. The sub lay at an almost unimaginable depth, where human eyes hadn't yet dared to venture. The CIA faced a Herculean task. At 16,500 feet deep, retrieving the submarine would be unlike anything attempted before. But they weren't about to let the opportunity slip away. The CIA's plan? An ambitious, top-secret project known as Project Azorian. Project Azorian would involve creating a vessel specifically engineered to retrieve the K-129 from the ocean floor without alerting the Soviets. But they needed a convincing cover story, something that would deflect attention from the real purpose. The CIA's solution? A billionaire with deep pockets and a flair for secrecy, Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was no ordinary businessman. Known for his eccentricity and groundbreaking ventures in aviation and film, he also had a reputation for secrecy, making him the perfect cover. The CIA approached Hughes under the guise of a mining project, claiming they wanted his help to extract valuable minerals from the ocean floor. Hughes agreed, and under his name, they developed the Glomar Explorer, a massive, specialized ship designed for the delicate task of lifting the submarine from the depths of the Pacific. Officially, the Glomar Explorer would be conducting deep-sea mining. In reality, it was a floating espionage platform. The Glomar Explorer wasn't just any ship. At over 600 feet long and equipped with state-of-the-art technology, it was essentially a floating fortress. In the ship's belly was a colossal claw-like apparatus, often referred to as the capture vehicle, designed to lash onto and lift the submarine. But this wasn't a typical crane. It had to be engineered to withstand enormous pressure at extreme depths and operate with precision despite the pitch-black, high-pressure environment. The design and construction of the Glomar Explorer required massive resources and intense secrecy. Engineers worked around the clock, cloaked in layers of classified directives. Most of them didn't even know the ship's true purpose. The operation cost hundreds of millions of dollars, an extraordinary sum at the time. But for the CIA, it was a necessary investment. If the mission succeeded, it could bring unprecedented insight into Soviet military capabilities and even provide a strategic advantage in nuclear diplomacy. Finally, in 1974, 6 years after the K-129 had sunk, the Glomar Explorer set sail. Under the guise of a mining operation, it reached the remote spot in the Pacific Ocean where the CIA had tracked the wreck of K-129. Soviet ships had occasionally been in the area, perhaps conducting their own search, but they had failed to locate the sub. Little did they know, the CIA was about to attempt something audacious right under their noses. The retrieval operation was high stakes, combining delicate precision with immense pressure. The crew lowered the massive capture claw, extending it to the ocean floor, where it had to grasp the hull of the K-129 carefully. Every step of the process was meticulously planned, and there was no room for error. A minor miscalculation could mean failure of the entire mission. But as the claw lashed onto the submarine and began to lift it, the disaster struck. During the ascent, a section of the sub broke off and fell back to the ocean floor, taking with it many of the secrets the CIA had hoped to uncover. Still, they managed to bring a portion of the submarine aboard. Although the hull wasn't as complete as they had hoped, it contained invaluable information, including potentially sensitive material that provided insight into Soviet technology and operations. For a while, it seemed that Project Azorian would remain hidden in the annals of classified Cold War operations. However, secrecy is hard to maintain, especially with a project as monumental as this. Rumors about a top-secret CIA operation in the Pacific started to circulate in Washington, sparking interest among journalists. In 1975, the Los Angeles Times broke the story, shedding light on the mysterious mission and hinting at the U.S. government's audacious attempt to retrieve the Soviet submarine. The revelation caused an uproar. The public was shocked and the Soviet Union was furious. This was no ordinary case of espionage. It was a testament to how far the CIA was willing to go in the high-stakes, covert world of Cold War intelligence gathering. To deflect the media's attention, the U.S. government resorted to a new and unusual response strategy. When journalists pressed for more details, the CIA used the now-famous phrase, "We can neither confirm nor deny." This phrase would later be called the Glomar response, named after the ship involved, and it has since become a standard response for government agencies caught in sensitive situations. Project Azorian remains one of the boldest and most secretive operations in CIA history. Though the full extent of what was recovered remains classified, the mission demonstrated the lengths to which the CIA and the U.S. government were willing to go to gain an edge over their Cold War adversaries. It highlighted a new era in deep-sea engineering, espionage, and international intrigue. Project Azorian's legacy lives on, not just in the depths of the Pacific, but in the strategic playbook of modern espionage. The Glomar Explorer was eventually repurposed, but its role in one of history's most daring heists at sea remains legendary. Even today, historians and former intelligence officials study this operation, fascinated by the audacity, secrecy, and technological ingenuity that made it possible. So what did Project Azorian achieve? It was more than just a retrieval mission. It was a statement of Cold War determination, a symbol of the lengths both superpowers would go to outmaneuver one another. It changed the landscape of military intelligence and set a precedent for future operations that would blur the line between science, strategy, and sheer nerve. As we look back, one thing is clear. In the shadows of history, there are missions that are stranger than fiction. Missions that remind us of a time when the stakes were at their highest and both sides were willing to go to any lengths to protect their secrets. Stay tuned, because the Cold War is packed with more of these hidden, thrilling stories that shaped our world in ways we're only beginning to understand.